We are at Camp Roberts in Central California at JIFX, where founders go to rapidly advance their products. The Pentagon sponsors Naval Postgraduate School to run this critical event.
I'm Warmoth, founder and CEO of Chariot Defense. Chariot Defense building expeditionary power solutions for the battlefield. So we're really filling the capability gap for squad level units to be able to deploy forward and power all of the systems that you need to fight and survive in the modern battlefield. That's really informed by my experience both in the eVTOL industry at companies like Uber Elevate, Kitty Hawk, and Archer, and then addressing the problems that I faced as a counter-UAS program manager at Anduril, fielding those systems in an expeditionary environment. That's the great thing about an event like the NPS JIFX event, is it's austere by design. It lets us get out here in the dirt, lets us collaborate with other experimenters. Companies like Anduril we're powering here, companies like Firestorm, we're gonna be powering their expeditionary manufacturing solution. We're powering an expeditionary high-energy laser for counter-UAS. So those kind of partnerships, the ability to do those kind of tests on a range like this in an austere expeditionary environment is really invaluable for a startup like us.
I'm Brandon Newell. I'm the founder and president of DCI Next. We have a collaborative research and development agreement with Naval Postgraduate School for capturing warfighter feedback around research and development projects. One of my favorite things from this JIFX is, seeing the collaboration between companies. It's a low pressure environment for them to get out in the field together, even if they've had no interactions before. And then they're able to experiment. And they're able to take chances. They're able to, bring multiple capabilities together in what we call an advanced capability.
I'm Josh Geigel, founder CEO here at Gambit. So I'm a mechanical engineer, but I spent my career up until Gambit building rocket engines, spacecraft, hyperloops, and power cycles. So what does that mean? Is that we're learning how people currently use unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, or ground vehicles to train our system so that we can actually deploy those across large amounts of robots in the fields. Imagine having your best operators, right? Being able to be scaled overnight across the world to as many platforms as you possibly can imagine.
Eddie Modern, I'm with DCI Next. I spent 11 years at General Dynamics Robotic Systems developing autonomous systems for the warfighter. I left there and went to robotic research, where I continued that mission to make sure that our men and women in uniform had the highest quality robotic systems and that they were able to do their mission, removing them from harm's way in the dull, dirty, and dangerous.
Hi, I'm Bill Buell, and I'm the VP of Hardware at Firestorm Labs. This is the first time that we brought our product to this real field location. So JIFX is an experimenter's event. We met this company called Chariot a few weeks ago. They were on the list for JIFX, and they reached out to us and said, hey, you guys have something that needs power. We are a company that makes things that provide power. And it just happens that we're in the market for a solution similar to what they provide. So they basically said, hey, we're willing to have our team play in the sandbox with you.
I'm Michael Lefrenbois, CEO and founder of Aurelia Systems. We think the best way to actually deploy directed energy is in very small scale, very cheap systems, so you can get point defense on every single truck, tank, even drone. All that is extremely important for us to do the iterative development with government stakeholders. We have an idea of what the system might be, but really iteratively developing this and coming to JIFX very, very often is very important for us to be able to make sure that we're not building product blindly. We've been in contact with Chariot Defense, but having a place where we can come together and actually do some R&D demonstrations, especially our first R&D demonstrations, has been really, really important.
Yeah, we see that iteration speed with these modern startups as being one of those key differentiating factors of what's our right to play here, right, in this space, right? What's our right to play against the big primes? And that really comes down to speed, comes down to iteration, it comes down to willingness to take risks, comes down to willingness to try new things. That's around building a culture in our defense industrial base on let's test it, let's iterate it, let's learn from it, and let's field that next system faster than the enemy can.
We need to innovate, and that's what JIFX is, allowing collaboration to happen in a controlled environment. It's innovation at its very best.